people for the wrong experience, or you don't pick people whose experience showed that they could not do the job. In fact, that is the perfect rule you use to exclude them. We gave you the chance and you failed, so out. You pick people who have shown you a certain tendency to do well, and then you analyze them, which is what I did. I said, well, this vice president has been vice president and he has not been corrupt. That's a fact. Do you have any evidence of that? It is not for lack of opportunity. Sipton switch alone was over $1 billion. And I won't go to do, by the way, I don't coordinate with the Bawumia campaign. They don't tell me what to do. I speak my mind, and it's not everything I say which they even like. So it's not everything I say here which may be perfectly accurate.
On the corruption scorecard, what is it you can say about Bawumia that you cannot say about President Mahama?
So President Mahama was vice president. He was president. At least you know of the Ford scandal.
Right.
I use that because that is an objective mark. There was an investigation. There was a conclusion. All the stories and everything being told. There were situations where
that he took a gift.
Yes,
of a car.
You're saying...
Is that it?
Let me answer the question. We are comparing two people. One, there is a fact that findings of corruption were made against him. The other, there is none. And I'm saying it's not for lack of opportunity.
The other, whose office, there have been not one.
Not one of what?
But a number.
A number of what?
Of issues bordering on corruption.
You see.
And some standing trial.
So, I am saying, therefore, have we gotten to a conclusion that Vice President Bawumia was involved and has been found culpable? No.
That he has supervised projects that have become scandalized.
Have you gotten to a conclusion that finding has been made that tagged him with that? The answer is no. And I'm saying, on the other hand, as for rumors, there are plenty. And there are even more rumors on the side of President Mahama than Vice President Bawumia. But in his case, findings have been made. And like I said, every measure you pick to rule on whether to go with Vice President Bawumia or President Mahama, you find out that in his case, there have been findings made and things established. So again, you go forward and you realize that, look, if we are going to look at track record, then indeed, we should not be making this mistake. See, President Mahama himself uses examples like Black Stars. I recently saw a skit where he was saying, oh, when he comes, he's going to rebuild the Black Stars, you know, with homegrown. I mean, I checked out of Black Stars. And go check my Facebook. I gave up on Black Stars. During President Mahama's time, when we messed up so bad, they flew money from here to Brazil to go and pay footballers. All right? That is when I wrote it off. And since then, it's never been okay. So if the same person comes and says that, oh, I'm going to do this, and look at the track record of what he actually has done on that. So again, everything you raise, if you check here and you check here,
the Ghanaian voter,
it didn't work.
The Ghanaian voter, this is his measure or her measure. That in President Mahama's regime, I could buy Kenke for 1 cedi, 2 cedis. Today, I need 5 cedis. That is their measure. That in President Mahama's time, the cedi to the dollar was 3 cedis or up to 4 cedis, is it? That in Dr. Bawumia's regime, we have gone close to 17 cedis to a dollar, and now managing some 12 cedis to a dollar. And you know what that means to the entire economy. You know what that means to our present suffering, that people are actually gnashing their teeth.
So again, this is what happens. In the process, you set the premise wrong. In Vice President Bawumia's regime, that's where the problem is. Samson, you and I know as lawyers, the constitutional authority of a vice president is that he is an assistant to the president. This is not Vice President Bawumia's regime. This is President Nana Akufo-Addo's regime. And the nature of the vice presidency, like I said, the finance minister has more constitutional authority because he's the representative of the president.
The president's voice overrules the finance minister.
Only the president overrules.
The finance minister works under the instructions of the president.
Yes.
That's the executive president we have.
But that's the point I'm making.
If the president gives power or assignment to the vice president and projected him from the very start, that the reason I want you to vote for me is that I have an economic messiah in my boat. And he gets in and he goes on his sonar, praises the vice president for a good economic management, and his senior minister praises him that vice president is the one, leading us to our economic destiny. How should we attempt to exonerate him?
Nobody should do that if that is what happened. And we were all here and we saw it. And indeed, it falls on President Nana Addo to answer those questions. Look, I have seen people send me and put on the internet Senior Minister Safo praising the Vice President and an EMT for a good job done under his leadership and everything. That was the first term of this government. That was when that team was working. And again, I'm saying if the facts are not there, they should come and say it. But my information was that was the first term. When things were working, the EMT was active, and when they gave the advice, they take it. Second term, everything changed. If the president projected him as this is going to be the person I'm going to rely on to do my economics and whatever it is, and then he proceeds not to listen to him, or he proceeds not to take the advice. And by the way, again, I keep saying that this is not what Vice President Bawumia is saying. He himself actually takes more responsibility than I give him. Okay, but the point I'm making to your question is that, for me, the fact that you have capabilities mean nothing if they will not be used. As far as I am concerned, I think if you see the utterances of this person before, and then some of the actions, and his utterances and actions after, you can get exactly where he's going. Let me take e-levy, for instance. Look, clearly, he was against it because he made utterances that electronic transactions should not be taxed. It affects them. Then a decision is made by his boss that we are going to go this way, giving instruction to the finance minister, and then they go that way. And when people talk about why didn't he resign, whatever it is, see, when you don't have the prerogative, it is not your right to make the decision. And the person whose right it is to make the decision makes the decisions. You don't have any business saying you're going to resign. You've done your job. But look at what happens. He stayed there and he fought for the 100 cedi exemption. Okay, that's the driver-made thing that people don't seem to understand. The ultimate decision was we are going to do e-levy.
Let
me land on this. And it is done against his express. The record is there. Now, he stays in and says, okay, you are going to do it because it's your prerogative. Okay, but please, can you exempt the poor? He fights for it and gets that. That is what you get by staying there. But that is what it means when you say you are a mate. You don't make the decisions, but you do influence. Now, they could have refused that too. But at least he got that.
All right.
So see, when you give your ideas and advice and it's not taken, you cannot be held responsible. It's the person who didn't take it who should answer for it.
I wanted to clear this small issue about the question of corruption among the two individuals. Now, when you refer to the fourth saga, when Shraj made the finding, it cleared the president, John Mahama then. It didn't find him guilty and didn't find him guilty of conflict of interest as well. In your estimation, which of the two regimes have been the most corrupt? The Mahama regime or the NPP Akufo-Addo regime? You know, as a matter of fact, that one of the major reasons the NPP was voted into power was that the NDC was very corrupt. What do you say about this regime?
This regime has been terribly corrupt.
More than Mahama's regime?
In terms of magnitude, I don't have the measure.
There's a measure by the Corruption Perception Index. At least for 4 years now, this government's best results is...
For time, look, looking for a measure.
This government's best result
index
is the worst in Mahama's regime. So they can't get close to Mahama's best.
As per the Corruption Perception Index,
yeah,
this government has been more corrupt than the Mahama government.
That's correct.
And that's disappointing. That is terrible. But that is why this government is going away. If this was a vote for their second term, I would have voted them out because I would be voting for Nana Addo and this government. By the design in our constitution, this government, this whole load of people are going away. The biggest baggage Vice President Bawumia has is this government. He is having to pay for the sins of this government, and he's part of it.
They are going away because you are
going
passing a vote of no confidence in them.
No, they are going away not because we are voting them out. They are going away because that is the design of our constitution. The next government is not President Nanado's government. And one of the things that I want to see, I mean, I have found a way to tell Vice President Bawumia, I don't want to see any key members of this government in his team.